Okay, where are my plastic anchors? Okay, here they are. My two plastic anchors I'm going to use. And I'm just going to start off with tapping this. I'm not going to go too much further than that for right now, because the more I push this in, the bigger the plastic anchor hole is going to be, and if I push it in too far, then that plastic anchor that I want to use, maybe it's too small now. Okay, so now I got it that far. I know this is pushed into the back side of the sheetrock that far, or fairly close. Okay, now I take my trusty little screwdriver again. I'm always using this, aren't I? And I'm just going to poke that in to see if I have any backing in there, and I don't. Now see, if I just poked it in there a little bit and I felt that it was on a stud, then I wouldn't have to make this hole any bigger. Okay? So now I'm going to do that over here too. And if you want, before you do that, you can double check your measurements, measure twice. I've never heard that saying, measure twice, cut once. Well, in this case, it's measure twice, poke once, or measure 3 times if you want. Okay? I'm going to get that. I'm just going to poke it in. I only went in 1/2 inch or so. And by the way, you want to check on the other side of this wall as you're beating on it. You don't want to make sure that you want to check and make sure that you don't have a picture on the wall or something. And you know what? I'm glad I'm saying something, because we've got the bathroom right here, and see, there's a picture on that wall. So I'm gonna take that picture off the wall before I go any further. Okay? We made the mistake one time when I was an apprentice, and the guys I was working with, we were installing something, tapping on the wall, putting in some plastic anchors. We heard this big old huge crash on the other side, and it was one of those glass dome clock things that go back and forth, and it's all gold inside and everything. The whole thing shattered because it was on a shelf on the other side. We didn't look on the other side of the wall to check that out. So I'm glad I'm talking about it now. Just so you can see, I took that picture off. Oh, I'm glad. See, if I wasn't talking about this, I probably wouldn't have checked for that. Now I've got my little screwdriver again. I'm going to poke through here, just twisting it back and forth, and I can push it in. And incidentally, you may feel other things like copper plumbing pipes in the wall or something like that. You may have to make another decision, or then push this in until you hit something, pull it back out, hold your finger there, measure it, say, okay, I can only put in a screw X amount of inches long or something like that. I've had to do that before, maybe even cut the plastic anchor off, use a smaller screw, whatever. Okay, so now those holes probably are not big enough for this yet. Almost. It's almost big enough. Now what I can do is I can take my little screwdriver again, and then I can just ream it out just a little bit, and all I'm doing is I'm actually making a cone, because I'm just reaming out the outside edge of the sheetrock, not the inside, right? Okay. Have you ever seen anybody explain to you how to put something in the wall such as this? Okay, now I can push that in. I figure I probably should make that just a hair bigger, and I could use my scratch awl and just push it in a little bit more. I can see where the mark of the sheetrock is. I don't want to go much further than that. I could use that and go out at an angle too, if these anchors were bigger. Okay. Now I want to put the plastic anchor in. That's going in probably 1/3 of the way, maybe almost 1/2. You see where this sheetrock edge is on that? Right about there. Okay, right about like that. All right, that's far enough, because these are nice and stiff. I don't want to make the hole much bigger, because can you see this could get loose? That's why I don't like using these other ones that's got the ribs on it, because if I push that in there, I can barely get it started. And as I'm starting to tap, these ridges hold it up from slipping right in, like this. See, this has long ridges on it, long grooves, and this is harder plastic than this. This just folds over when you start pounding it, and you think, oh man, I have to make it just a little bit bigger. Pull this back out, reposition this plastic anchor with your pliers, make your hole a little bit bigger. And if you get your hole just barely bigger than your plastic anchor, forget about it. This plastic anchor, you think, oh well, it fits. You put the screw in there, and you can't tighten it up, because what's happening is this is just spinning behind whatever it is that you're trying to tighten up against the wall. So that plastic anchor wouldn't fit. Then you'd have to get a bigger plastic anchor, and that's another reason why you probably don't want to start out with something real big like this, because if these small ones will work, fine. This is your backup. This is your backup. If you make your hole just slightly too big for these, then you can graduate up. Remember I said this screw, this plastic anchor would probably work, but I'm going to use the smaller ones. I'm going to use the smaller, shorter ones. See? Because I've already determined this size will work. This bigger one will work too. If this thing starts spinning in a pinch, okay, I can pull it back out, and I can put this one in the same hole, tap that in with my hammer, and that'll be tighter. If you happen to make the mistake with the bigger one, you can pull this back out, put your screw in there, pull it back out, whatever. Then you can put this one in. That's why I don't like starting with this first one. And plus, for the reason why I told you, this head's bigger than what I want. And I'll save those for something else when I really need those. If I can get by with these small ones, hey, I'm gonna do it, okay? So, we got that halfway in there, like that. Now I can tap that in with my hammer. And then I'm gonna make this flush with the wall. Oh, that is so tight in there. There's no way you could do that a different way if you're not pounding it in. And because this shaft of this is so tight, it's gonna fit in there snug, okay? I'm gonna check that. That one's not going in as far, so I'm gonna put my scratch awl in there. I'm just gonna angle the outside just a little bit, and maybe push in a hair or two to make the cavity in there just a hair deeper. Now I got that in. I can almost push this in about 3/4 of the way. I'm glad I didn't make that any higher or further out. You see? That one was not as tight as this one, but it's still gonna work. I know that one's still gonna work. Okay, so now, you having fun yet? Are you learning anything? I hope you are, okay? Now we can put this in. I've got a red plastic anchor there. So, you know, most of that is gonna cover it. But if I really wanted to, I could even put my black felt tip marker on the red and not go over it. Okay? And I could do that over here. I haven't used this felt tip Sharpie for, I don't know, 6 months or so. And I still got plenty on there because I keep it upside down like that. I put it in my nail bag like that. Okay. Now, I can't even see that anchor at all, or it's the same color. If I used the blue one, dark blue one, I could have done that. I had some blue ones too. Now I could just start that a little bit. What was that? Hold this one up. Now I can let go of it. Now I can get this in further, and I don't want to tighten it up all the way just yet. I want to just get it fairly snug. And I should have it right in the middle of where it goes, and it looks pretty good right there. I can get it fairly snug, and I can tighten it up. If I didn't have the level, I could, even if I use the level to level this, I could still adjust this slightly. Usually your mounting screw area, you can adjust, you can loosen this up, lift it up, tighten this one down, lower that one down just a hair. There's a little bit of slop in there. So now I can hold this down here. And it looks like this side could go just slightly down, or this side could go slightly up. Okay. I loosen that, I can go there. Okay, and just snug it in. Okay, there you go. Fixed. Now let's say you have a level and you are dead fast on wanting to use this level, but when we measure 25 and 7/8, this is only 24 inches long. Let's say you still want to use this. How could you do it? Well, here's another way. You can take a straight edge. This happens to be just my little rasp. I carry this in my nail bag. You could use this, or if you have a T-square, you know, you could hold that up there. But see, you could hold this here. Once you determine where level is, and if you got this top, you can hold this on here like that and extend that over. See exactly where it is, where your other mark is. Raise this. Okay, it's right there. And then you can use that if you're by yourself, let's say. Okay, even if you are with someone else, they can hold this up here, and then you can hold this down there, whatever. If you're measuring on the bottom, you can hold that down there. However, you know, you don't want to get this too long, because then you're going to be doing this business here. But you can hold that, you know, that far, and that's this far, okay? And you can use that as an extended area for your level. What are we going to talk about next time? I just happen to be in the garage, and that's where I'm going to start next time I make my next video. And it has to do with using a drill, battery operated drill. Here's some chisels, and here's some paddle bits. It's hard to see them, but I've got different wood paddle bits. Here's an extension, which I don't use very much. There's two little set screws on the side, and then the paddle bit fits on there. You have to be real careful when you're doing that, though, because if you don't have those tight, if you think they're tight and this is rusty and you haven't used it a while, and you drill straight down through a top plate or something, and your drill bit comes off, ka-clunk right down inside your wall, and you'll never be able to see that again. So anyways, I got 1 inch, 3/4, 7/8, 3/4, 5/8, ½ inch. You can even get a whole set up to see, half, 5/8, 3/4, 7/8, 1 inch. You can even get it up to 1 1/4 inches. I've seen them. And you can get a paddle bit even bigger than that. I think you can get them up to 1.5 inches. But what am I gonna do with that next time? And it has to do with this door?